Welcome back to Smash. I am your host, Soshan Ale, and we are now going to have a chat with the tennis icon himself, Vernon Lewis. Vernon, first we just want to talk a little bit about how you got started in tennis in St. Lucia.
Well, basically, you can almost say I got started in tennis almost by accident because my mother and father lived separate places, and my mother lived at Marcia, my father lived at Summersdale, and my father played a lot of golf and things like that, and I played a lot of soccer and cricket and things in Marcia and so on. And I guess from visiting my father's house, because of his associations, he had a tennis racket there when I started playing kind of cricket with it. And my neighbor who had a wall, a garage wall, and there was a tennis instructor who lived there named Selwyn Sampson. I was in Oliver Sampson's garage. Well, he told me, well, to hit the ball against the wall, and then when they saw my potential there, that's really how I started playing tennis.
Could you give the viewers a little bit of insight into the life of a young tennis player?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it was very unique, or you could say not normal, how I ended up playing on the men's tennis team at age 13, and actually, touring to Dominica, playing on the men's team with players like Johnny Easter, David Dovey, Oswald Dovey, and I actually had a cousin on that team who was pretty close to my age too, around 14, 15. And so it's not something that happens common, that's common. But because we played a lot of other sports too, growing up at a young age, played a lot of cricket for our villages or whatever, our little counties, La Prairie everywhere, and soccer. So our coordination was at a very high level before we actually played tennis, So that kind of assisted us also.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We also see that you're the current record holder for Davis Cup match wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have about 35 playing for the OECS, and you also have definite number, high number playing for St. Lucia when we broke off away from the OECS. Also, you were a 10-time OECS tennis champion from some of our readings.
Really? Okay, yeah. I didn't think it was 10, huh? I thought it was less than that. But it could be between 6 and 10, I don't know. But I thought it was 6 OECS titles. But it could be, I don't know.
Okay. Let's just talk about a little bit about the Davis Cup. You've definitely been around for a very long time and been successful in the Davis Cup. I would like to just bring about one match that I had the privilege to watch you play in El Salvador. We were playing against Panama, and you played for 3 hours and 40 minutes, 40 plus minutes.
Yes.
I'd just like you to just give us a little bit about that and how you felt going through that.
Oh, that match, yeah. I actually had a more enduring match than this. This was actually not my toughest match physically in Davis Cup. But I'll go through that match with you. My toughest match really physically in Davis Cup was against the Bahamas, really, here in St. Lucia, where I had to play 5 sets against John Farrington. And 2 days later, I played 5 sets against Roger Smith, who had just beaten Lendl, who was #1 in the world at that time. And I practically cramped from the first or second set in that match against Farrington, and had to play for the remaining 3+ hours, cramping all of my body, and I ended up winning that match. That was really the most grueling and satisfying match I ever played. And there's a photograph of Dunstan St. Omer in that match with his hands way up in the air in the stands, fully stretched out, totally happy, But the match in Panama was a similar match, but of a less grueling for the fact that it was a 3-set match. And in those days, we used to play 5 sets. But I remember that match. I remember you on that tour with us too, Sir Sean. And yeah, you know, the first set, if you remember, you were there, the guy was playing unbelievable. And, you know, I had a good first set. He won 6-3. And he was just playing unbelievable that day. Like, you didn't think how you could beat that guy. But the lesson youth can learn from that match is that even though I felt like I wouldn't beat him today, I said, okay, if he was going to win that match, I was going to give him the hardest match he ever played. And so, you know, by doing that, physically it got hard on him too, where he started cramping too, and it went down the wire in the 3rd set, and then both of us were physically spent, and then mentally it was, you know, we were going back and forth, and mentally I ended up being a bit stronger, and then when you knew it, the ball went out, and then it was game, set, match. And so, yeah, it was a great, and I was already 40 years old, I think, in El Salvador. I was like 4 or 5 years ago, where I went undefeated in that event in singles against Panama, what we had, Barbados, US, Virgin Islands, and Bermuda. So it was, yeah, it was very satisfying to be able to achieve that at that age, you know.
Also, was here privy to a junior tournament when you were talking about the success of your junior program. I noticed that a couple of your young juniors are already following in your footsteps, and that they've already taken home the gold, so to speak. Let's just talk about your aspirations for those kids, and hopefully for the further advancement of your tennis program.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, I don't like to talk about it like of tennis program, really. I just like to look at it as, you know, I always, when I came into tennis, I always wanted to be the best that I could be. And, you know, for me, it was always about, you know, being the best you can be, winning, you know, being the best, you know, not accepting second, but always going for the best. So the same thing I want from every kid I coach. I coach kids to win. I coach them to be the best. Every kid, you know, without exception. Once you come my way, my thing is just, you know, train you right, you know, train you hard and train you to win. And, you know, I've been around a lot of victories with kids over the years in St. Lucia, where I've been associated with at least 4 or 5 Coke champions, you know, where I've worked with, and kids doing, you know, reaching the finals and winning tournaments, and, you know, going fine doubles, winning or whatever on the ITF junior circuit and moving up in the rankings. And, you know, I have a crop of kids, you know, right now between the age of 10 to 13 who can compare with kids from anywhere in the world. And, you know, and they've proved it. And so that's why, you know, when you've done certain things and you prove it and it happened, you know, and then you still, you know, and you still experience like it's not good enough when it's already been proven, you know. Sometimes it can be hard, but, you know, that's life.
We want to move a little bit to a lighter note now. Just want to talk about Vernon Lewis, the father. I see you have a young son.
Yeah.
Looks like he's following in daddy's footsteps. He's taking up tennis. How was that being for you, watching him grow up and probably going through some of the things that you did as a tennis player?
Fun. I can just say fun, you know. Just like teaching, you know, watching other kids grow up. Because before he was here, you know, there were a lot of other kids I work with, you know, and they were like my kids. Because, you know, he grew up in the countryside, in Choiseul. And because he wanted to go to my school in St. Mary's College, you know, he wouldn't settle for any other school. So, and I wanted him to play tennis too, so he moved up north, and then he's really started playing a lot with, you know, competing. Could take his little lessons down there. And but it's been a lot of fun working with him. But like I say, you know, there were a lot of other kids I had before working with him too, who had a lot of success. Kids like Jimon Weezy, Johnny Thomas, Shakil Jamari, you know, these kids were winning at the Cook level, reaching the finals, winning local tournaments. Now you have kids like Jean-Philippe Murray, a little kid at 12 years old, win the last 14 and under tournament here, and my own son winning Cook 12 and under last year. And you have kids like Julia Duvey, who's won Cook more than once or twice. So it's almost like I had a lot of other kids before him, But as far as your question goes, to be honest, it's just been fun because we work hard, and that's what I always push. We don't play around. Come put in our hours. We work hard. We work scientifically. We try to work properly, and and we go in for the goal. We go in for the number one. We go in to win. That's all.
We just had a lovely chat with Vernon Lewis about his storied career. Thanks once again, Vernon, for sitting down with us. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break.